Hello and welcome back to SirKentSaid.com. Well, before we get started, I want to say thank you for staying with me for as long as you have, fam. And go ahead and make sure if you don't even like, go ahead, smash that button at the bottom. Help those YouTube algorithms recognize me a little bit more. Tell your friends about me. And let's get into it. Don't worry. And normally I don't go see movies on opening weekends. And I may definitely go back to doing that after this last experience I had last night. I am not going to spoil much in this movie here, really anything. I am going to be discussing this movie from a person who enjoys cinematography and sound and special effects, not so much the movie itself. Well, yeah, the movie too. But let's get into it, shall we? I went to go see this movie at the Pacific Science Center IMAX screen, which is the second largest screen on the East Coast, or excuse me, West Coast. The only other biggest one is in LA, of course. Had a little bit of trouble there because I completely forgot that not only was it opening weekend for this film, but it's also Comic Con. So you had several people show up in their costumes for my showing on the movie. And I'm not hating. You having fun. It's just balls on for that scene. And the theater actually had a MC who hyped up the movie before it got started. So that was cool. That was different. And they also sell beer and wine from local breweries and wineries, which is cool. So they're helping the community. Um, One thing I hated was it's first come first serve as far as tickets in this day and age when you don't assign seats for $21 movie tickets. That's kind of fucked up. And the seats don't recline. So my 6 foot ass is compacted in the neck break seats, which is the very first row. You know which ones I'm talking about. And the screen was so huge that I had to constantly turn my head in order to see what the fuck was going on because I was that close. The sound was fantastic. Um, but yeah, that was my IMAX experience at the Pacific Science Center. Would I recommend it? Yes, knowing what I know now, show your ass up like an hour early. Okay, make sure you one of the first 10 people into that theater, or else you're fucked. Um, anyway, getting to the movie itself, it's directed by Denis Villeneuve. I fucked that up. He also directed the first one. It tells the story how the House of Atreides, or the follow-up story of how the House of Atreides got they get back on the House of Harkonnen. Um, what I wanted to touch on was the fan base for these movies, and it's not just them. It could be Marvel fans, it could be DC fans. Um, but I just hated the talk in the theater during the movie. Well, in the book, and again, and in the book, and again, I read all the book. Again, shut the fuck up. I haven't read the books. I want to be entertained when I go to a movie. It is a form of escapism. And I don't need you and your big ass egg head fucking it up for me. And I will also give it to the director and the writers of this movie because this is a 6 book series that I don't even know how many spinoffs it spawned. It's got to be like The Walking Dead at this point. But I think they're doing an expert job from a person who hasn't read the books because I truly enjoy the films the way they are because they are only sections of the first one was shot in IMAX. This one, start to finish, was shot in IMAX, and seeing it on the IMAX screen completely engrosses you. It encompasses you. It makes you feel like you're part of the movie. And the theater I went to had an upgraded digital surround sound system, so you heard everything. To me, between that casting and acting is just as important to me as the books are. Now, I'm not knocking you for reading because Lord knows I should do more of it. But don't be in the fucking theater cross talking while I'm trying to enjoy the fucking movie. Because they'll probably find you knocked the fuck out when the lights come on. Okay. I am not above smashing a geek. I'm not. Anyway, um, the returning cast is Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Javier Bardem, my boy Josh Brolin, and additions to the role or the cast this time around were Aston Butler, Austin Butler, Austin Butler, um, Florence Pugh, and oh wait, Christopher Walken and Leah Sado, and of course, the attorney was Dave Bautista. Um, this movie, I think, touches on so many things. Touches on politics. It touches on political maneuvering. It touches on grand machinations, especially from let me get to her name, Lady Jessica, who was even willing to use her son Paul to further her own agenda. But basically, it touches on the colonization of House of Treaties onto the territory of the Fremen, who lived on or occupied Dune, where they refine the spice that everybody uses. Had you tried to negotiate or something like that instead of big dogging into their territory, maybe things would have turned out differently, but probably not. Um, so it touches on a lot of things like that and religion in this one as well, because the Fremen have come to believe, especially over the course of this movie, that Paul Atreides is next coming. Okay, he's going to part that Red Sea. He's going to lead their people to the Promised Land, and in some ways, he definitely does. He definitely embraces what they believe him to be by the end of the movie, good or bad. It costs him because Zendaya is like, "Yo, I'm out," and it definitely starts off the war of the Fremen against the rest of the houses, and that's if there's a three, and I think there is a three, that's going to be a sight to behold, especially with this director. All in all, even though there's a severe lack of titties, and the action sequences, as good as they were very blood free somehow. Um, I'm still going to give this a definite 9 out of 10. It is that good. I think that's my first 9 of the year so far. A definite 9 out of 10, and a high recommendation that you go see this in IMAX. It was shot in IMAX for a reason. You should try and go see it on the IMAX screen with assigned seats. But yeah, those are my thoughts, and I'll see you on the other side.